whether it be, Star Wars or, Raiders of the Lost Ark. These type of films were the films that really inspired me as a kid, and so that was the type of movie I wanted to make, even though I was a film student, and this would be really my first time really directing a lot of people. And this idea, the story of a clone figuring out who he was the most organic to me, the one that was alive in me at the time. And so I set about to try and tell a story about this clone, even though it was a story that would require a lot a lot of blood, sweat, and tears from not only myself, but everyone who ever gotten involved in the project. SYN began as a conversation around a dinner table, my father and I arguing over whether or not a cloned human being would be like us in every way, would think like us, not only look like us, but feel like us. The story originally wasn't about zealots or the Church of Man. However, they were elements, and I found that they were the most interesting elements in whatever storyline I tried to write out. And so I threw away most of the original storyline and focused in on the idea of this religious group that had taken humanity as the ultimate form of life on this earth. And through that, these characters started coming.
Everyone, I think, to some level, who worked on this project really, really believed in the film. They really believed in the script. They really believed in the potential that it has to be a great movie, but people also believed in, Ben Chavda, to be able to create this.
Many drafts later, I turned it in. It was too long. I think a lot of people thought it was impossible, and yet there were elements in the script that people liked enough where the powers that be just said, all right, kid, let's do it. So not only have we shot people, killed people, snapped people's necks, I believe there's been a few stabbings, but now we get to cuddle. I love making movies.
This is the intimate scene now, so they're about to get freaky with it,
Do what with this?
getting jiggy with
Out
it.
of control.
So
Somebody's got to stop.
somebody better make sure there's protection on the set, man. That's all I'm saying.
One of the first orders of business is the look of the movie. This movie, from the beginning to the end, is my stab at a live-action anime, if you will. I love Japanese animation.
Chavda and I decided early on that we would try to shoot it much like a comic book in these static frames, that we wouldn't move the camera a lot, that it would be very much, the action takes place in a frame, and so you notice that the camera doesn't move very much at all.
And this tells you how great it is to work with people like Dave, who can take a couple rambling thoughts and ideas and make it uniform. I knew that the church, the zealots, I wanted them in bluer shades, and I knew that when we wound up with the SYN people, I wanted a more amber or orangish color. And Dave took that and he ran with it, and he developed a uniform pattern for the entire film, where if you look, he gives you these great little hints through the movie. Cut. Beautiful. That looked really good.
102.
I tried to find a way to differentiate the two worlds of the zealots and the SYN. And then when you watch Aiden's progression as he learns who he is, you see the colors that he stands in start to change.
We were going to use a lot of smoke, a lot of very fantastic lighting, very unrealistic, very expressionistic.
Because it's a very fanciful movie, because it's a very fantastic film, it does not take place in the here and now, and it's not a naturalistic film. We were able to play with a lot of the light sources. I think in a lot of areas, I think we really hit where we were trying to go.
We decided we didn't like to push in on, and to be honest, we didn't like to push in on the 25. It looked too cornball. 16. 16, you're cutting him off. If you want the shot, you have to do it on 12.
On 12?
But I wouldn't do a dolly. It looks too.
You want 12?
It looks too stupid.
Why don't you wait? Dolly sucks.
The dolly sucks.
Let's go ahead and get to 12 and then go home.
I was able to find interesting people who are good actors. Michael Kirkland, our fight coordinator, as the mortician. Tim Wright, just great person, great actor, came aboard to do Father Matthias.
I think by far my favorite person to work with during SYN was Tim Wright. I think it's just because he just challenged me to really take things seriously, and there's just no joking around at all while we were doing our scenes, and so I just really appreciated how he just kind of raised the bar for me in that area.
I finally was able to get a wonderful actress, Kelly Barrett, for Vivian. Jin was an interesting character because I originally wanted to find a young man who could portray this boyishness. I found this kid, Aaron Lee, who had an interesting kind of timeless look to him. The casting of Eva was interesting. I originally cast one actress. I was always thinking, there was something in the back of my head. I had another actress in the back of my head that I had seen during the original rounds of casting, Deborah Clay. And she was just always in my head, and it kind of bothered me. This other actress dropped out, and so immediately I picked up the phone and called Deborah, and she was so gracious and came aboard. Still didn't have my leads. Chris Nelson came as a joke, in a sense. He didn't think he was right for it. I didn't think he was going to be right for it.
I actually wasn't going to audition because, I didn't really think there was, a part for me because I knew that the director was looking for very specific looks. And I remember it was after a spring event I was going to race in and tell him that I wasn't going to audition because I had made an appointment. And I was like, well, heck, I'm here, so I did. And I felt pretty good, I had a good time. And then just kind of waited for that call for callbacks.
He came in and he read this powerful, imposing, menacing character. I had never seen Chris like this because in real life, he's this tall, white kid who is just this goofball. And yet he transformed himself and I was scared of him. And after that, I immediately went home and I rewrote the entire script.
Yeah, because I knew it was a dark kind of, and I don't have dark hair. Complexion isn't dark, and I'm not known as like a I'm gonna kill you person. So that actually did play a part.
He was a devil. He had this ice cold stare, and yet he would smile at you, and you didn't know. He was smiling, and yet there was no laughter in his eyes. And so suddenly I knew he was the villain. He had to be. I needed to find my hero. And that was probably the hardest search. And the guy who was originally going to edit the film for me, it just never occurred to he or I that he should audition for the film.
I was really interested in the whole idea of being in a sci-fi. It was definitely something different, and so that's what initially drew me to the project.
Finally, he broke down one night and just said, I really want to audition for the movie. And I said, well, why don't you? So he came in, and he was perfect.
Being a sci-fi genre, you have to really let yourself go into that world. You can't just be halfway about it. So I think that was really difficult at times, just to give yourself to that and just trust Chavda, trust the script, And so it's just not your slice of life type of story.
He was exactly what we needed, what we were going for, in terms of his look, his demeanor.
Chavda really wanted me to play Aiden as a just straight man, you know, underact if need be.
And he worked so well with Chris and with all the other characters and all the other actors. I mean, he was great.
Chavda was a great actor's director, to tell you the truth. I think Chavda did a nice job of delegating so that he was able to be with the actors more. And I think he did an awesome job. You know, he gave little pointers when he needed to. If anything, actors always want more. They always want somebody to tell them, oh, it's working, you know. And he did that when he had to. But he left it to the actors to do their job. And I liked that. I appreciated that.
I can't see his chin.
That's okay. Gorgeous! That's it. That's money.
Dave and I were pretty good collaborators. We enjoyed working together. I enjoyed working with him. He has a way of seeing light.
I love working with Ben Chavda. He knows exactly what he's looking for, so it's the communication it's there. He's able to tell me exactly what he wants. And it's very fun to work with somebody like that who knows what they're looking for, has a very clear idea, clear understanding, but also allows for some creative thinking from the other members of the crew.
Dave can take an idea and bring so much depth and class to it.
I would not be here, and I couldn't have done the job I did without the people surrounding me, people like Craig Hoffman and Tom Budd, Jason White, Ryan Council, Roger Spendlove, Mark von Welsheim, the people. It's the crew that surrounds you, the guys putting the lights up. It's the guys running the camera, pulling the focus. Those are the guys that did the work.
Carol Dulesky came aboard as first AD. I needed someone who was going to be able to run the set, and who better than someone who was a West Point grad and who was able to hold a hill over in Bosnia, you know. And so she came aboard, and she was a great person to work with and was a great asset to me personally.
And then we're going to do a close-up of the same action on young Aiden as he hits the wall. And then we're moving to the over the shoulder, which is 9 Delta, as the bullies look behind them. And then we're going to the low angles as the bullies are looking down at young Aiden on the corner. We're cutting out Richard because we really like his scruffy look, so we're just going to do a cutaway of him at another time.
Welcome to E! Entertainment Television. Today, I am on the set of SYN. I'm your host. Check out our zealots.
Sean, ready to see a demonstration of what we got going on here?
Yeah. Okay. So this is when you have your little conversation.
That's gonna be really cool, Dave. Here are the corrections we need to make. This camera needs to be running straight down the center. Dave, these lights can't come on until your main film.
I can't say enough good things about Judy. She was a pillar through the entire production. She was the perfect producer. You know, never around when I didn't need her, and always there when I did.
It's really important to, I guess, recognize that sometimes when you think of filmmaking, of course it's one person's vision, but I think at the same time, I really believe that it's really a collaboration of many talents put together, you know, for one film, one project.
Okay, that's it. It's good. Holy shnikes. Sheldon is going down. Okay. I was just trying to warn you, but you were already up there.
Who's got the difference?
I see you over.
When we got the rushes back, it wasn't necessarily what I think, you know, Ben had expected, and so later on we had to reshoot the final fight scene later, like 6 months in January of 2004, and I think that definitely, you know, added to, I guess, the production value of the movie.
The final fight that was in the can just cheated the audience. It wasn't good enough. It wasn't shot to what I knew was the best of our abilities.
When we had to reshoot sections of SYN, and there were actually parts that we reshot that was supposed to, the actual shots we were shooting, we had to cut into the old footage. And I'd learned so much in the interim that how do you improve the shot, but yet keep it looking the same? And that was a real challenge for myself. And I think that we did it well enough that I think nobody will really know.
Originally, Sin wasn't necessarily an action film. It was definitely a dark movie, a philosophical movie, but it wasn't, and on some levels an adventure story, but it wasn't an action film. I felt action worked in the film. And I realized I love action films, and that's an element of what I want to do.
For the final scene, we decided for the first time to go handheld. We try to keep the camera stationary as possible, but we try to give a little bit more fluidity to the frame to give it a little more energy, to help that last fight scene have a little more energy as well. We did change the shutter angle to help that energy as well. You want to paint each frame so that it's beautiful in and of itself, but at the same time, like, these are such quick shots. Like, how do you light a kick to the chest? You tend to light characters instead of the set. I think that when you film action sequences, you really need to light the area well. You need to light the set well, and then let your actors play in that area.
Michael Kirkland came on board as our fight coordinator. He was able to choreograph some great fight scenes in relatively not a lot of time.
Roll cameras. Speed. Speed. Marker. Action.
The sci-fi genre is, I really enjoy doing it. I mean, shooting guns and doing fight scenes, I mean, that's just so much fun to do as an actor.
The actors were able to learn it very quickly. I was very proud of them. They were able to learn it and then sell it.
Set here.
No, let go. Are we in trouble here, gentlemen?
All right, camera, coming in.
I just heard in the news the other day that they're cloning babies for stem cell research. So it's obviously a really big issue today. I don't think SYN really has an agenda, either way of cloning is good, cloning is bad,
I think it kind of leaves the viewer kind of wondering. And so I think that's good, because I think that's really what a film aims to do, which is to provoke discussion about what the story is about.
We are asking a couple questions that should be asked. If we see, cloning come about in a reality, what is our responsibility to them? Will we have different water fountains where we'll drink from one and they'll drink from another? I think it's important to start asking these questions now. If cloning does happen, what is our responsibility to them?
I've been excited for Chabda. I'm one of his biggest fans. I think that he did something that went beyond the visions of most people, and I think he accomplished what he was set out to do.
It was definitely one of the best experiences I've had working on the project.
I hope that for myself I'll be able to do more film, because it is a great experience, and if it's an experience like SYN was, then I couldn't ask for more.
It was one of the best experiences I had while attending film school. I think the dream of any filmmaker is to do what he loves to do, surrounded by the people that he loves. And that's what SYN was to me. Every summer you want to go out and make a movie with your friends, and that's what we got to do.
To have a finished product that is worthy of all the work that everybody's put in, I think is something to be proud of.
The fact of the matter is, we were a bunch of kids running around trying to make this science fiction action movie, and we had a couple lights and a camera at times, and sometimes we had an entire set. Sometimes we had huge churches to fill. I was so proud of everyone involved. I was so proud of the final product, what we were able to accomplish.
Going for take. Roll cameras.
Speed. Action.
This is like week 12, the shoot or something.
Do you want it on apple boxes or?
I want it, guys, get it
We're all
hi-hat.
pretty
Just get it
tired.
on hi-hat.